Hi everyone, how are you all doing? I just thought I'd take a few minutes to talk about Alibaba, mainly Alibaba stock, and talk about uh, China as a place to invest money in. So, if you've been following my post, you know that I'm a big investor in Alibaba, the company, and I've been holding the stock for some time now, for as much as 6, 7 years. It's been a long ride to say the least. I never expected to hold this stock for this long, but honestly, there's many reasons I've been holding it for a while now. But today, basically, I thought I'd give you an update and just summarize on what is happening lately with the company and the stock. So, generally speaking, Alibaba stock has not gone anywhere in the last few months. And in fact, you can see in the last uh, several years. Basically, the biggest problem with Alibaba is that is also the main reason we all bought Alibaba is that it operates in an overseas market. It operates in China. I remember that is its advantage, and these days that is also its disadvantage. And I'll get into that in just a second. But I remember a few years ago when I was looking into getting into e-commerce stocks. I especially non-discretionary uh, e-commerce stocks, or in other words, consumer staples e-commerce stocks. I was driven towards Baba mainly because of its size and how much market share it had, and of course its fundamentals. It was even back in 2016, it was steeply undervalued when you compare it to the American e-commerce stocks like Amazon. I remember Amazon was tearing up, and it was so people were paying premium for Amazon. In hindsight, they were all right. But I just didn't feel comfortable buying Amazon at those levels, so I looked somewhere else and I said, "Hey, look, the Baba story in China makes a lot more sense for me." So that's why I went ahead and purchased stocks in Alibaba. It hasn't really worked out for me. It hasn't worked out for anyone, in my opinion. And it's okay. It happens. Doesn't mean it will not work out in the future. So basically, these days, a lot of people are expecting Alibaba stock to do well, especially with the fact that company is rebounding after COVID lockdowns, after the tech crackdown, and after the fact that consumers were not spending, but now people are expecting them to spend. Long story short, the latest earnings for Alibaba was phenomenal. They beat earnings, of course, and the stock did jump initially, but then it sold off. And why is that happening? Why is it that Alibaba stock is not trending higher? Why is it still trading below $100? And it comes down to what I alluded to earlier. The fact that it is a Chinese company with businesses in China, that's the biggest risk associated with it. Today, investors are not excited about China anymore for several reasons. First, they're worried about geopolitical tensions between China and US. Uh, we know what happened when people expect these relationships to not get better anytime soon, and that's a concern. We know that President Joe Biden just announced some sanctions against Chinese companies. I think they're all tech companies. So America, obviously, and we know that is taking a tougher approach against China. They feel threatened by the rise of China, not just rise of China, but they feel threatened how well advanced or how fast China is catching up to the US when it comes to technology. We know China is leading in the green energy field, and they have a lot of talent. We know they probably catch up on AI as well, but that's a whole another topic. But message is that the Americans, they don't feel secure and they feel threatened by China, so they're taking, they're doing what they can to put up guards and protect their assets and keep their advantage over China. So that does not bode well for anyone investing money in China, because investors are worried that the Americans, that foreign that um, basically Americans who USA, which is the biggest global power, that there's going to be a showdown between the two, and that does not bode well for China. Does not bode well for people investing in China. Uh, at the same time, we know that the Chinese economy is slowing down, and that's because of several reasons. One of them is that after the pandemic lockdowns, Chinese consumers have not really returned, especially like the one the Americans returned. So, and actually, there's some reports that China does not have an inflation problem; they have a deflation problem. Things are cheap. They're cheap because there's not much demand. People are out of work or people are saving, and that does not bode well for investors. And then one interesting thing is that the Chinese government, especially President Xi, he's not really interested in bailing out big companies, especially companies in the housing sector. We know that the housing sector is under a lot of pressure. There was one big bankruptcy recently, Evergrande or Evergreen Development. So, and they did not bail it out. They did not support it. Uh, what's happening here is China is shifting away from relying on big infrastructure projects to lead the economy, and they want to shift the economy more towards uh, consumer-based economy, which is how it is in the West mainly. So, so I think for that shift to occur, Chinese authorities have decided that there's no point in throwing good money after bad. So there is a shift happening. Uh, what does that mean for Alibaba? Will it benefit? Will it uh, will it be on a disadvantage? In the short term, if all of if all of Chinese market is going down because of housing or other issues, then Alibaba will most likely get hurt. But in the long term, if China is moving towards more consumer-based economy, then for sure Alibaba will be okay. So going forward, honestly, I'm not too optimistic about Alibaba stock in the short term. Like, I know the stock is trading between 80 to $120 range. We're sitting at 88. I think it will go down to 80, maybe even lower. I just hope it doesn't go down too much. Let's see how bad things get. Uh, maybe, yeah, honestly, I don't know. Maybe all the bad news is priced in. I don't know. I don't think so. Because if China is going to a deep recession, then yeah, then it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. But overall, I'm still holding my stock. I'm still optimistic in the long run. Let's see how it goes. A lot of uncertainty. Uh, I think once once money does start to flow into China, it'll definitely go to Alibaba first. Alibaba is on the front lines. It is a stable company. Many investors are aware of it. So if you want to play China, that's where you go. That's where you go. You go to the e-commerce world. So I think I'll sign off now. There's a lot more to talk about, but just wanted to come in and reiterate that hey, like the the company is okay, and it's just that the macro situation related to Alibaba is still very uncertain, and a lot of investors are fearful. But stay positive, stay optimistic. If the perception does change around China, Alibaba will be leading the way. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.